Donald Trump today welcomed 3 Americans imprisoned in North Korea back to the U.S. and said, "We want to thank Kim Jong-un." The U.S. President and his wife Melania arrived at the Andrews Air Base outside Washington at 2 a.m. to greet Kim Dong-chul, Kim Hok-song and Tony Kim, and called them incredible people. In extraordinary scenes, Mr. Trump and the First Lady clapped and cheered the men as they walked down the steps onto American soil with their arms in the air and giving triumphant V signs used to signify both peace and victory. On the tarmac, the president said, "These are great people. Frankly, we didn't think this was going to happen, but it did. It was important to get these people out. This is a special night for these 3 really great people." Mr. Trump also thanked Kim Jong-un for freeing the folks early, calling it a wonderful thing, adding he believes the North Korean leader really wants to do something and bring the pariah state into the real world. He said, "We are starting off on a new footing. I really think we have a very good chance of doing something very meaningful, and if anybody would have said that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even a year ago, you would have said, that's not possible. My proudest achievement will be when we denuclearize that entire Korean peninsula," he added. As the plane landed, a giant American flag was flown between 2 Maryland fire trucks to give the men a hero's welcome after Trump promised the world there would be quite a scene when they arrived. The 3 men were released yesterday after up to 3 years of prison and hard labor when Secretary of State Mike Pompeo left Pyongyang following a meeting with Kim Jong-un to formalize final plans for a Trump-Kim summit in late May or early June. He added that the talks between his administration and the North Korean government have never been taken this far. Trump says he will not disclose whether he will have any personal conversations with Kim as they prepare for their historic summit in the coming weeks. But he did admit it was possible that one day he may visit Pyongyang, should peace talks continue to go well. The 3 former detainees were transported to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center for further evaluation and medical treatment. Singapore is the likely site for the historic meeting between the U.S. president and North Korea's dictator and will last up to 2 days. When asked if the talks will lead to prolonged peace, he said, "We'll see how it all works out. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but it can be a great thing for North Korea, South Korea, Japan and the entire world. We hope it all works out." The release of the 3 men was only sealed about an hour before the U.S. Secretary of State left the North Korean capital. They walked on their own from a van and onto the plane, the culmination of Pompeo's 12-hour visit to the North Korean capital, which included a 90-minute meeting with leader Kim Jong-un. Returning to his hotel from that meeting, Mr. Pompeo had given reporters a fingers crossed sign when asked if there was good news about the detainees. A North Korean official came to the hotel shortly after to inform Mr. Pompeo that Kim had granted amnesties to the 3 and that they would be released at 7 p.m. local time, according to a senior U.S. official present for the exchange. Carl Risch, the Assistant Secretary of State for Consular Affairs, and a doctor went to another hotel to pick up the men and bring them to the airport, the official said. They finally left custody at 7:45 p.m., and by 8:42 p.m. they were flying home. As soon as the plane cleared North Korean airspace, Mr. Pompeo called Mr. Trump to inform him of the releases, with the men all apparently in good health. Even before Mr. Pompeo's plane had touched down for a stopover at Yokota Air Base in neighboring Japan, the president announced to the world on Twitter that the 3 wonderful gentlemen were free. In a statement released by the State Department, the former detainees expressed their deep appreciation to the U.S. government, Mr. Trump, Mr. Pompeo and the American people for bringing us home. They are the latest in a series of Americans to be held in North Korea for alleged anti-state activities in recent years, only to be freed during the visit of a high-level U.S. official or statesman. Their releases draw a line under an issue that had weighed on plans for a historic summit between Mr. Kim and Mr. Trump that will focus on North Korea's nuclear weapons. "We are granting amnesty to the 3 detained Americans," the North Korean emissary told Mr. Pompeo at Pyongyang's Koryo Hotel, according to the senior U.S. official. "We issued the order to grant immediate amnesty to the detainees." "That's great," the Secretary of State replied. The North Korean official then advised that the releases would follow a very brief ceremony, which he described as more like a legal process. The official closed with a gentle warning for the U.S. to prevent a repeat. "You should make care that they do not make the same mistakes again," the official said. "This was a hard decision,